You're going to be the first person to transition from a human body to a synthetic.
Guys, I have a million questions for you, so I'm going to try to get through as many as possible very quickly. Thank you again for your time.
All right.
Noah, to start with you, you're no stranger to developing a spin-off TV series set in the larger world of a franchise that's been around for decades, of course, referencing Legion, what you did with the whole X-Men franchise, also an FX series. How did your experience on a show like Legion help you structurally when it came to developing Alien Earth?
Well, I mean, you know, I've been able to play in a lot of genres, and you know, part of it is you got to know what it is that you're adapting, right? And so much of you know, Alien runs across 7 movies, but they're all a survival story, and they're all a cautionary tale. You know, the elements, the themes that are in it are you know, unique to Alien, but not unique to our world. We're talking about humans who are running from the natural world and realize that the technology they've created is also coming for them, right? And does that sound like the world we live in today? It certainly sounds like that to me. So there is a sort of contemporaneous relevance to it. You know, and then you just, you know, you got to see what it wants to be. You know, Legion was a show that was about a character who, you know, who had these psychic powers, but you know, because no one was there to tell him he had these powers, he just thought he was mentally ill. He was in a psychiatric hospital, and so he didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And so that becomes the structure of the show, right? The structure is informed by the story, and you know, so here it was about building something that felt like Alien when you start to watch it, and then these new elements are introduced.
Yeah, very well said. David, coming to you next. Obviously, the Alien franchise has been pretty active once again on the big screen as well. I loved Romulus last year. I thought it was such, you know, a breath of fresh air into the franchise. Felt horror again. What's the dialogue like between yourself and the movie side of the Alien franchise, if there's any at all?
There really isn't. I mean, the fact is that as Noah often references, even the objective of the films as sort of 2-hour survival stories is really an entirely different landscape to build upon, versus where Noah is able to take a lot of thematic ideas and some of the rooted sort of corporate and creature realities of the films and expand on those and explore those in dimensions that we haven't seen before. So I think it gives him a chance, which I think he seized on to such great result, of introducing a whole new orchestration of characters, but being able to delve into these worlds in a way that we've never been able to see before.
Very much so. One connection, though, that does exist between the big screen and the streaming screen for these franchises is the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. In the recent Predator Badlands trailer, we caught a glimpse of that logo, and that corp is all over Alien Earth, the TV series, and it's been all over Alien, the whole franchise. Are those deliberate seeds when we're seeing those kind of parallels? I mean, both are coming out this year after all.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're projecting a kind of a master plan, you know, because of what Marvel has done and the reality that there is, you know, one person, Kevin Feige, who's overseeing that entire story as one big story. You know, Dan Trachtenberg is, you know, he's on his own mission, right? And there's a bit of a firewall between the feature side and the TV side. You know, maybe in success, right? We have to prove ourselves on television. You know, maybe a larger conversation will start, mostly not to coordinate, but probably to make sure we don't duplicate, right? And you know, because that begins to steal some of the energy from the franchise. But, you know, I'm excited to see that film.
Yeah, lots to look forward to in the future. I'll formally wrap with this. David, you're no stranger to reimagining iconic 1980s sci-fi franchises in a television show in the modern world. Of course, I'm referencing Blade Runner 2099. Kind of crazy that you have two very specific things like that going on. I know filming wrapped last December. I was hoping you could give me a post-production update and maybe even a release window, a target goal for when you want that show to air.
It's ultimately when Amazon wants that show to air. But I mean, we are in the full throes of post on it. I don't think we will see that come onto screens until probably sometime later next year.
Okay. Well, they're telling me I have a little bit more time, so I have more questions for you guys.
All right,
if you don't mind talking a little bit longer. In terms of the larger world for Alien Earth on the streaming side, specifically keeping it contained to this show, what's the goal for this? What's the roadmap? Do you envision multiple seasons? Do you envision new casts, treating it kind of like an anthology series? Where do you see it going beyond season 1?
No, it's a recurring series in which we're investing in the characters that have been created in the first season, and the question of will Wendy and these hybrids, not just how will they fare physically, but also, we're invested now in this project of their growing up, right? And whether or not they're going to choose to try to stay human, or they're going to look around at the humans around them and say, well, if that's what human is, I don't want to be that. Right. And then what would that mean to send those characters out into the world? They're not synthetic. They're not human. There's something in between, and so it really becomes a meditation about humanity and can we survive, and do we deserve to survive?
Very cool. Lots to look forward to. Again, I got one more question for y'all, because apparently the next one is running a little behind. So final question. I'll finally wrap up with this. We have so many different new species of alien coming into Alien Earth. Obviously, we have the iconic xenomorph and the face hugger. I believe I caught like a little bit of a new color palette on that face hugger. But then we have that little scorpion looking creature that terrified the hell out of me, and a couple other ones that I think I caught in the first episode. Could you kind of give me the layout of what we're looking at when it comes to the new aliens you're introducing, and what kind of connections you want them to have with the iconic, xenomorph and facehugger that we're familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that this USCS Maginot that crashes on Earth is a bit like, Darwin's HMS Beagle that's been going around and collecting samples and specimens from around the galaxy. And the idea is that in order to make you feel the feelings that you felt watching the first Alien movie, you need to have some kind of discovery at the life cycle of these creatures. And the xenomorph, which has this amazing 4 monsters in one value-added voyage of discovery, you can never feel those feelings again with that creature. So we need to introduce these new creatures to get back to that feeling of genetic revulsion you felt every time it shifted and changed in some parasitic or predatory way.
Mm-hmm. And David, anything to add on that front?
Only that I think it's impressive how efficiently NOAA has not only conceived of those, but how effectively and invasive they feel, both in how we have some recognition, familiarity with them, but also trying to even anticipate what kind of hell they'll unleash, which we get some glimpse of this season, but can only begin to imagine where it may go.
Yeah, I love talking with creatives who clearly love the franchises that they do. It's very clear you guys put a lot of TLC into this project, and that you want it to be fresh for a new generation. So thank you for putting all your heart into this series, and thank you for the extended time. I know you're doing interviews all day. I know every minute can be exhausting, so it means something to me when we get to talk a little bit longer. So I appreciate you both.
Take care.
I want what's on that ship.
We can do it. We're fast, we're strong, we don't break.